Biggest fail tonight, super obvious, Marco Rubio. Disastrous fifth-place finish for Marco Rubio. He was hoping to come in second as Kasich started to go up in the polls, and Rubio, after the really bad debate performance where he had the robotic glitch and kept repeating his talking points, and Chris Christie kicked his ass, started falling down. But, of course, he was rooting for at least third. But I don't think he could have imagined that he was going to fall all the way to fifth. So Kasich comes in second, then Cruz, then Bush, then Rubio, having finished third in Iowa, which at the time looked pretty good, now in hindsight looks pretty bad, and finished fifth in New Hampshire. Well, that's not an exciting campaign. That's a pretty crappy campaign.
Yeah, and we can't just say that this was 8 days after Iowa, and his nearly finished second in Iowa. He and Cruz were obviously the big winners in Iowa. It just shows you how
nearly finished third.
Nearly finished second, right?
Second.
Right.
Second.
Nearly finished second. So third. That comes after. But so the big winners, Cruz and Rubio, finishing here third and fifth with very similar vote totals, tells you that necessarily Iowa results don't matter, as we've known many times before.
On the Republican side.
If anything, it would seem like the Iowa results may have energized Bernie a little bit. It seemed like he was headed for a pretty convincing victory here, no matter what.
The Democratic voters are more similar in Iowa and New Hampshire on the Democratic side.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary could have done damage to Bernie if she'd won Iowa convincingly. She didn't. She didn't even win it, really. So, well, we'll never know, which seems insane. Also, by the way, I mean, enough with this crazy system where a bunch of people gather in a room and talk and then cast votes that we never get to know. I mean,
That's crazy.
Well, it's insane. It's insane.
Or you can have it, but maybe not first.
I mean, Republicans do it better in two different ways. They at least vote in Iowa. First of all, caucuses are dumb. They're dumb. Vote. Go to a poll, vote, and go home. That's how that works. Caucuses are dumb. It's a silly idea. It discourages people from participating in the process because they have to spend hours and hours talking.
Yes. I've never agreed with you more.
Yeah. So that's dumb. It's also dumb to have these states first. I know it's the way we used to, but we ought to have, like people have suggested it, we ought to have 4 or 6 big primaries where we do 12 states, then 13 states, then 12 states, then 13 states with some amount of time in between, and then we're done and everybody votes. And then everyone in every part of the country gets some say in who the people who are running for president.
There's trouble with that, though, because then if the first day is 12 states, then somebody who has less money makes it much harder to compete in 12 states simultaneously. If you want to have the 2 very early, do that. Have it be random every time, or have a rotation every time.
How is dumping money into Iowa and New Hampshire somehow better from a money point of view than
it's less money?
Or no, but they could easily, but you could still spend a ton of money in those states. People run out of money after 3 or 4 states. At least here, you get to compete in a quarter of the country. But it doesn't matter because by the time we do this, we're going to have campaign finance reform, so they'll split it up. You have money the whole time.
Yeah, because both of the Democratic candidates, that's their first priority.
But I mean, as always, like we live in California, and we're not going to get a say in who the candidates are that run for president.
It's crazy.
Nor is our vote going to matter in the general election.
No, is our vote going to matter in the general election, although that is at least a circumstance of that we already, yes, it's less, at least, but we still get to go and vote. And in a given year, demographics might change, and maybe it will be. But here, when it's already decided, by the time you even get around to the vote, I mean, this is arguably more important. This is winnowing it from 11 to 2. Like, this matters, and we don't even get a say. I mean, it's incredibly dumb, this way that we have to do things. But the Republicans have it better, at least vaguely in Iowa, is that they at least count votes, right? And then they don't have superdelegates. Like, I mean, we're going to get, and because nobody understands this process, it'll get reported that, Bernie Sanders is going to get whatever, let's make up numbers, 15-9 he'll get over Hillary tonight for the pledged delegates out of New Hampshire, out of 1,400, in minuscule numbers. But then they'll still report, as you look on websites, Hillary still leads among delegates because she's up 357-14 among superdelegates. Well, we don't need superdelegates. No, they're members of Congress, you don't understand, and important, and members of the DNC, and important.
Oh, do they not get to vote in primaries?
Yeah, right. They get to vote.
Then they have as much influence as us.
Yeah.
When the Democrats have screwed something up and made it more elitist than the Republicans, we've obviously made a mistake.